Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik from Figured Out Productions. The following video is a video of some kind, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hey guys, it's Adam here, and today we're going to be talking about a brand new Sega Dreamcast game. And before we go into that though, if you could please do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, talk about stuff in the description, talk in the comments, go into the description, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that sort of stuff that I'm required to say to you. Plus, check out my new channel, which is about flying and eating and stuff. It has nothing to do with video games, but you might like it just to see the world. Anyway, moving on. Yes, time to talk about this. A brand new Sega Dreamcast game. For those who don't know, yes, the Dreamcast, my favorite video game console of all time, still gets new games. However, Sega themselves has nothing to do with it. They just allow it to happen, basically. So the new games are made by independent developers and publishers. In this case, familiar with both. The developer of this game was Orion Soft, who we'll talk about a little bit more in a second, and the publisher is Josh Prod, who, well, really, Josh Prod is like the dude leading the way. His name is Phil. He's like leading the way on new releases for the Sega Dreamcast. He's just like, yep, I'm going to publish a ton of different stuff. So huge shout out to him, and also huge shout out to Video Games New York, because they are the official distributor of Josh Prod Publications in the United States. So if you want this game, I'll put a link in the description. You can check it out and get it there. There's also, I'm sure, a European version of it that's also available. I'll put a link to that as well. Now, you've not only seen the game, but you're also noticing this little thing that went with it. Video Games New York just made this as this is a one-of-one thing that he just published, he made, and just sent to me along with a copy of the game, which, by the way, full disclosure, this was sent to me for free for the purposes of review. This is a game case holder that he just took a photo of me. I was originally holding the Nintendo PlayStation prototype up there, and he replaced it with the Dreamcast and then made that cool background, and the idea is it just holds a game. That's pretty cool. This is not something you can buy currently, but if anybody is interested, I can let him know. You know, let me know in the description. Let me know. I keep calling it a description. Go into the comments, and if you want this, tell me, because if there's enough people that want it, he might actually start making these. We'll see. If you like the idea of a creepy version of myself holding a game for you, but whatever. But yes. Let's talk about the actual game, and then we have a Dreamcast here just to be on display. Now, the story with this game, before we get into the actual gameplay element of it, is that, so I talked to Orion about it, because he had told me a few years ago he wasn't making games anymore. In fact, I think in one of my videos I even kind of gave him a salute goodbye because he was retiring from the game scene. So I was a little surprised to suddenly find out, hey, I got a new game and it's like already done. So I emailed him, and I was like, dude, what's up? And he's like, okay, so here's the story with this game. Basically, yes, he had retired. That was the plan. He was kind of out of the scene. But he kind of got, bored, and he wanted to make something new, as happens. And, he had a part-time job, so he was like, I have time to work on this. And then he got a full-time job, so he had less time to work on it, but he just, at that point, he was committed. And the whole idea was that he wanted to make a game for the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive. That was the plan. And that's somewhere down the line, potentially. But as the game itself was being developed, he basically said, okay, the game is done. I want a very quick release of it. So he threw it up on PC, and so you can get it actually via Steam. However, once he realized that he didn't want to do self-publication, because his previous releases that he had done, which I've done videos on over the years, in fact, one of them, Zia and the Goddess of Magic, I'm actually an NPC in that game. You can find me in a bar, and if you talk to me, I'm not helpful or useful. I just talk about Shenmue and the Dreamcast, so it's a lot like this channel. I'm not that helpful. I just talk about totally unrelated things. But anyway, so basically he's got a nice little library of games on the Dreamcast, but he didn't want to self-publish. So this is the first time one of his games was the publication of it was handed over to someone else, and that would again be Josh Prod. So they do quality releases. I'm very happy with the content of what they do, which is nice, professionally pressed stuff, which is always one of the questions I get about these things. Hey, is it like some guy burned it with a CDR and they're just mailing it out? No, like this was pressed in a factory. The art booklet, all that sort of stuff was made professionally and then wrapped up and sealed. This is a very nice, legitimate release. But yeah, so that was the goal, was he wanted a Sega Genesis / Mega Drive release. However, that proved to be kind of difficult to do for Josh Prod, because they're not really in that arena of Genesis stuff. So instead, he decided that they were just going to go with a Dreamcast release for now, and maybe eventually they'll do the Genesis edition. And the cops out there do seem to approve of that idea. But anyway, or they don't approve of it. Maybe that's what that means. Maybe that means you're supposed to only have the Dreamcast edition. But regardless, yes, so the game itself He told me that he would really wanted to do an upgraded platformer. This is actually a sequel to a game he had already done called Alice's Mom's Rescue, which I did a video on as well. Now, that particular game was a platformer that I really enjoyed. In fact, I even got the Jaguar CD version of it. Yes, he made a Jaguar CD version of that game. And I really liked it, but he said that he really wanted to address some criticisms he got of that game and also just things he wished he had done better. Hence, you got a sequel with improved elements. So this game actually has, it's like a co-op game, or at least has that as an option. If you're playing by yourself, I assume the secondary character has more of an AI system, but basically two characters, you know, playing together to accomplish stuff. One is a smaller character, one's a bigger character, one has an attack pattern. I mean, we'll play it and actually get into that a little bit, but yeah, in short, that's the story behind it. That's how it got released. As of now, this is the only physical edition of this game, and there will be, I guess, some digital editions that come to platforms like Switch and PS5 and stuff like that. But whatever. Anyway, there you go, the Dreamcast version. So with enough of that, let's go ahead and take a look at it. So opening up, we'll cut through the plastic there, which very nice. It's always nice to open a new Dreamcast game. It feels very refreshing, as it were. But yeah, there we go. Get past the plastic, chuck that to the side. So there we go. We have the front artwork, and then we open it up, and inside we have the disc, which looks very nice. It uses that same artwork, but you can remove that. And actually behind that, you have the same basic artwork of the character, but you have screenshots of the game, which looks good. And as I said, press disc. It's all very nice. The manual is in true Josh Prod fashion. The way he typically does these is he makes these like reversible manuals for the North American / Japanese variant. And basically what I mean by that is, like, if you have it, the artwork on one side, it's American, you flip it the other side, it's Japanese. And you open it up, and then the Japanese side is in Japanese with credits and imagery and stuff like that. And then the other side is in English for the American release. So really that just boils down to which version you want it to look like. I will typically keep it American, even though the back artwork is entirely the Japanese variant. In fact, one side is in Japanese while the other side is in English. But yeah, regardless, I typically keep it the American style. But there's really all there is to it. There's also a European version, as I alluded to earlier. But the thing you should understand is that all of these indie releases are region-free. So really it just boils down to cosmetics. Like, what do you want it to look like?
All right, we're rolling here. So as I said, there's multiple options for how many players you want. I believe it supports 2 players and different things. So each one of these games starts off with the story of Alice finding her mom, and then her mom gets randomly taken away by some sort of thing. I mean, that is some terrible luck that this character has. Both of these games start off exactly like that. Anyway, so here you can see, if you're playing by yourself, you have the option to switch between both characters. The girl in red, who's not the original Alice, has this like little red ball attack thing that you can use to attack most enemies. You can also jump on enemies as well. And when you switch over to the more traditional Alice, the one in blue, you'll see her ability is that when she finds mushrooms, she can change her size. And that is useful for like puzzle solving elements. Think Resident Evil 0 when you have to switch between Billy and Rebecca. It's kind of like that, but when you're controlling, see, there's one of the little mushrooms. Now, the big girl can't get through there, but little Alice can. She can shrink down and then get to the door. Now, I don't have the key, so as you can see, the key is up there, so I have to now switch back to the other girl, which I assume is also named Alice. I don't really know. And then you get her key, and then she can't fit, as you know, mentioned before, switches down, and so on and so forth. So the idea is, if you have 2 people playing, that you basically do this cooperative thing, but it is completely playable with just one person. It's actually pretty neat. I don't know if the Dreamcast had any other like kind of puzzle cooperative game like this. That's just a death animation, but I went back to the checkpoint. In my defense, I didn't realize that thing was an enemy because I saw butterflies fly past and I thought it was just background stuff. Anyway, so the game has multiple difficulty settings, and you know, he said there are some modes that's like literally just like for kids, so that like a kid could play it and not get like upset or frustrated. But there's also harder difficulty settings, and there you go, you just saw the entire first level. So I will end up going all the way through the second level, which is this one. So you can see like there's a puzzle solving element. You got to go find the thing to unlock it, and then that activates that, and it's basically a puzzle platformer. It would probably play very different if I had a second person, but I'm just doing this by myself. But it's actually pretty fun. It's a lot more fun than it looks, and that was kind of the same thing with the original Alice's Mom's Rescue, was that a lot of the comments I got on it was, this looks too simplistic, this isn't for me. I'm like, I'm telling you, it's pretty fun. Like, if you like platformers, you'll probably enjoy it. But, you know, see, again, puzzle solving. But again, that's if you like traditional, like, you know, 2D era platformers, which I really do. So I might be slightly biased towards that. But, yeah, I think that's about all there is to say. The game supports VGA, and that's how it's running currently. Well, technically, I have it running through DC Digital on a modified Dreamcast, and then I did throw an M Classic in there. But yeah, that's about it. So I'm going to let you guys just go ahead and enjoy the rest of the gameplay, as well as the music, and then I will check with you guys towards the end. Well, hilariously, I didn't realize how close we actually were to the end, but hopefully you enjoyed that. If you guys are interested in the game, I'll put a link to in the description for both the North American and European version, so you can get either one that you prefer. Thank you, as always, for watching. A big, again, shout out to Video Games New York for the review copy. If you guys wouldn't mind, please leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the other channel that I was talking about. The link to that is in the description. Follow me on all the social media stuff, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, etc. Always appreciated. Check out the Patreon if you don't mind. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.